All right, I think we're live. So, welcome to the Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Carlito Santiago, and today we are here to review the Raw before SummerSlam. We rolled right into the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan, of course, the Motor City, just 5 days before the first ever two-night SummerSlam in Jersey. So, Punk and Gunther would wrap up the hype for their World Heavyweight title match. Roman Reigns was in the house, and some of the most talented women in the industry waged war in a 8-woman tag bout. So we'll have to see what went down. But first, they had to kick off the show with an extended tribute to, of course, Hulk Hogan, who had passed away. Rest in peace, Hulk. A legend in his right. But I'm not, I'm okay with it. Not okay that he died, or well, sort of. But Hulk Hogan will go down in history as one of the greats, one of the legends. So, we wanted to get right into our show. So, Jey Uso hit the ring and addressed the crowd in Detroit, though Paul Heyman interrupted him. Family is always going to let you down. Family is always going to get you in trouble. Trust the Oracle. That's not a prediction. That's a prophecy. Heyman warned Uso ahead of Saturday's match, in which he will team with Roman against Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. Heyman rattled off several instances of Uso's family letting him down or lying to him. Jey Uso, I love you, he said, before adding, just like family. Uso asked, before putting an exclamation point on the segment, you leached onto my family. So where the hell yours at? Of course, Uso, sounding like he's out of fucking breath during this entire segment, didn't go right. But for the most part of it, this was a solid opening, especially when you get to the main event, which of course was another solid contest. AJ Styles teamed up with the Kabuki Warriors, consisted of Asuka and Kairi Sane, to take on the Judgment Day, featuring, of course, Dominic Mysterio, our IC champion, and our women's tag team champions, of course, the Judgment Day, Roxanne Perez, and of course, Raquel Rodriguez. So AJ will be challenging Dominic for the IC title on night 2 of SummerSlam. And in a preview of that matchup, the Phenomenal One partnered with the Kabuki Warriors to battle Dirty Dom and the Women's Tag Team Champions, as I listed off. The heels seized control of the match ahead of the first commercial break, with Rodriguez taking down Kairi Sane at ringside. The Tag Team Champions worked her over, cutting the Pirate Princess off from her corner. Several false hope spots eventually led to her tagging, of course, AJ, who was explosive into the match. Styles teed off on Mysterio when Perez attempted to step in front of the IC champion. The Phenomenal One proceeded to launch Sane over the top and take out her and Rodriguez. Back in the ring, the Phenomenal Forearm from Styles put Mysterio down and built momentum for the future Hall of Famer entering this weekend's Premium Live event. This was graded a B+. For what it's worth, is what you get. I can't wait to see what happens with AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio. And of course, it looks like our women's tag team champions may be losing their tag team titles. Maybe. Not 100% on that. Graded a B. For what it was worth, it's fun. We then moved on, of course, to a backstage segment which set up this match. Of course, born of a backstage confrontation with Sheamus squaring off against Grayson Waller in this next match. Things went as expected with the Celtic Warrior absorbing everything Waller threw at him, rocking him with a jumping knee and delivering the 10 beats of the Baron. Rusev attempted to influence the outcome, but Sheamus shook it off and caught Waller with a brogue kick for the victory. The Bulgarian Brute then, of course, obviously, like in style, took out his opponent and left him lying following the accolade. This was a average bout. Yes? Alright, I'm sorry about that, guys. So, Waller might be the best shape in his career. Not that it mattered because he still couldn't pick up a win despite Rusev providing a distraction for him. Even if Austin Theory was still here due to injury, it wouldn't make any difference. Lyra and Becky had a final build, and Karrion Kross a sit down with Sami Zayn. Honestly, this is just filler at this point. Lyra Valkyria had a promo with Becky. Becky came out and tried to sneak attack. Yada, yada, yada. You guys follow up. You guys know exactly where we go there. Afterwards, there was a pre-tape sit down with Corey Graves and Sami Zayn, and evolved into an intense face-to-face involving the latter and his SummerSlam opponent, Karrion Kross. Now, Zayn promised that if he loses, he will say whatever Karrion Kross wants him to, but if Kross loses, he'll have to look Sami Zayn in the eyes and tell him that he was wrong if the heel loses. If this is a stipulation, it's fucking stupid. So, B and a B plus for this whole entire segment. Honestly, it's just a kind of a filler waste. Honestly, a waste. But what wasn't was a tag team match between the women's. Of course, the women's world champion Naomi partnered with Chelsea Green and her secret Hervis to battle Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Nikki Bella, and Stephanie Vakir in an 8-woman tag match. The heels twice cut their opponents off from their partners, first with Bella and then Sky, but could not put either woman away. A hot tag, of course, from the Genius of Sky to Vakir sparked the babyface comeback that saw La Primera deliver her Devil's Kiss to Green, and ultimately scored with the SVB. The babyface stood tall to close out the segment. Rhea Ripley, so the babyfaces won. This is good. It builds up Ripley and Sky for what's going to come for their match at SummerSlam with Naomi. So, great stuff here. And, of course, Ripley and Vakir is going to make WWE boatloads of money one day. If Ripley gets the title back, that might actually be the case at Clash in Paris. We got a tag team match that was a bit lost in the mix, but of course, like mostly everything is. 1 week after outlasting the New Day and the Creed brothers, the LWO's Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde challenged the New Days, or the Judgment Days, Finn Balor and JD McDonough for the World Tag Team titles. The heels worked over Wilde for a large portion of the match, but a hot tag to Del Toro ignited the babyfaces and had them rolling late. With chants of "This is awesome" raining down from the crowd, the challengers took the fight to the air as they pursued their first tag team titles. But we had two different El Grande Americanos. The Ludwig Kaiser version, and then another one, ultimately proving too much for the challengers to overcome, though allowing Balor and McDonough to score the win. So, there's just a lot of fucking bullshit going on here. So honestly, this ain't a B+. The way they... it's going to get a B-. B as an overall thing here, but the minus comes in when you feature pretty much this bullshit booking here of having two El Grandes. Wasn't it enough that we had one and Chad Gable was explained for his injury being out, so we had Ludwig fill in? Yes, but now you have two? So what the fuck are we doing here? We don't need two of anything. We had the world title hype. Of course, Gunther and Punk coming face to face in the center of the ring. I left the voice of the voiceless speechless, Gunther said of his confrontation with Punk last week. Seconds before the former WWE champion interrupted. The straight-edge superstar responded to the ring general, telling him it dawned on him. He doesn't want to be world champion, or world heavyweight champion. He needs to be world heavyweight champion. I don't drink and I don't do drugs, but I understand addiction, Punk started before pointing at the world title. Because this is my addiction. You're right. I don't deserve to call myself the best in the world. I've earned it, the number one contender said. When Gunther tried to shut down the Red Hot Punk, the future Hall of Famer told him he will leave MetLife Stadium with the World Heavyweight Championship, but at least the ring general will have the opportunity to say he shared the ring with the best in the world. That's a good fucking promo right there from both men, and well deserved. It hypes up this feud a little bit, and it fucking gets me invested. So I can't wait to see what these two do in the ring together. The plan most likely will probably be Gunther retaining, when the entire plan, of course, has been spilled out on the table when you think about Rollins' input. Of course, Rollins was supposed to cash in after Punk wins it to become the World Heavyweight Champion, to screw over Punk, to make Gunther feel, well, he gets a rematch later. But needless to say, this should be a good match. with possibly Gunther retaining the title, but Punk could possibly take it here to set up further fucking tension. Jey Uso took on Bronson Reed in the main event, as Jey Uso and Bronson Reed meet for the second time in the last few months, just 5 days before a blockbuster tag team match pitting Uso and Reigns against Reed and Breakker. Reed overwhelmed Uso with his power and size advantage as the babyface mounted a late comeback. Braun Breakker came out of nowhere with a spear to draw disqualification, and boy, that sucks. So there's your B- right there, because disqualification didn't need to happen. A post-match beatdown of Uso had the fans chanting OTC, and Roman Reigns obliged, hit in the ring to make the save for his cousin. But Breakker mowned down the OTC with a spear at ringside, though, and ensured the OG Bloodline members did not stand tall. He leveled Reigns, sending him over the announce table with Reed, while Reed unleashed the tsunami on Uso. He added one to Reigns before Breakker mocked one of the Tribal Chief's most famous promos, declaring that everyone works for him now. The heel stood tall to close out the show, after, of course, a devastating spear through the Timekeeper's area, which helped build the heat they have this weekend, heading into SummerSlam. So, honestly, maybe disqualification is too much. Maybe it's a B. Maybe it's a B. If they didn't do the whole disqualification finish, maybe they get like a B+, but sure, you know what? Let's just keep the B the same. And this is what it was worth. This is what it was all for worth. The post-match beatdown was a nice change of pace in that it gave the viewers the false impression the babyfaces would reign to close out the segment. Of course, flipping the script and having the heels stand tall while leaving the babyfaces lying. But how was the show? Well, for a SummerSlam Go Home show of Raw ahead of SummerSlam, this week's show left a lot to be desired. It lacked a sense of urgency you would expect ahead of one of its biggest shows of the year, the Block Party Summer, of course, until the final 2 segments of the night. But when you are producing 2+ hours of television, there should be more substance than that. There was plenty of fun, including a mixed tag team contest, that the company should consider booking more frequently. I agree. The last 2 segments were great television, but this felt too heavy, this felt top heavy. Something that should be the case on the shows as long as this one. Or should not be the case on shows as long as this one. With that said, this was a pretty good grade. This was all it needed to be. So, I do like the ending. I do like the promo that they cut. Everything else felt a little bit filler. The 8-woman tag team match was fun. And this tag team match was good too. So, if there's nothing left here, well, I will see you guys Thursday for the SummerSlam predictions, Saturday for the SmackDown summary, and of course, Saturday and Sunday where you get the SummerSlam watch-along with me and Lewis on the other side. All right? So, if you guys can do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, comment down below, and turn on those post notifications so you never miss a stream. Also, good news is we will be in Springfield, Massachusetts for September 15th for the Monday Night Raw debut in Springfield, Mass. So hopefully you guys can catch us out there. If you guys haven't got tickets yet, I highly suggest you get them now because they look like they are prices are starting to kind of dwindle, in some spots, but most of the seats are going now. So get your tickets while you can at massmutualcenter.net. You guys can find it. Also, you can just look up, WWE in Springfield if you need to find anything. But until then, I'll see you guys on Thursday. Peace!